Hey, good morning, my friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at yet another Mora that I've added to my collection. We are looking at the Morakniv Kansbol knife. Bushcraft, utility knife, all-purpose blade. And so if you follow my channel for any amount of time, you know that I've done some reviews on the Eldris, the Garberg, even the Companion. Was tied into a couple of videos there. But anyway, I recently picked up the Kansbol and I thought it deserved a review as well. All right, the Morakniv Kansbol. So I decided to pull the trigger on this a few weeks ago, and I'm very, very pleased with it so far. If you've been following my channel at all, you know that I picked up the Garberg a little over a month ago. And I did a review on that, and it was a testing right out of the box. I have been using the Kansbol for a while now for different tasks, and I'm very pleased. So yeah, just to kind of take a look, let's look at the sheath first. So I went with the bright orange. There's only two color options with the Kansbol, OD green and this burnt orange. And I just went with this because I have plenty of natural color knives, and I just like kind of the way this one popped. And for camping and stuff like that, it's always nice to have a little something that's off color from the natural, scene out there. So it comes with the same kind of dangler as the Garberg does. It's like a synthetic leather dangler, which I appreciate. And I opted for this one to go with the survival kit. So the survival kit right here has a diamond sharpener here, which is a nice little addition, and then it has a fire steel here. So we'll take a look at that a little bit later, but I didn't go with that option with the Garberg because it kept the price down. This knife is $35, and adding the survival kit was right at another $20, so it was more justifiable, if that makes sense. So yeah, a little bit about the sheath. It's just like the Garberg, the shape and everything. It's ambidextrous, so you can get it in either way. So if lefties wanted to carry it one way, that'd be fine. But something else I'd like to add about the survival kit is I kind of was under the impression that this would be interchangeable with the Garberg. Unfortunately, it's not. And if somebody who has both knives can tell me a way to detach the sheath and add it to the Garberg sheath, I'd like to know. It says on the packaging that it's a detachable sheath, so I don't see a way that happens. It seems like it's fairly locked in. So let's take a look at the knife itself. So what you have here is a 12C27 steel 4.3 inch blade with a dual grind. You see the Scandinavian grind here, and then it turns into a flat grind there. I found that some people don't like that kind of compound grind or whatever, but I found I kind of like it. I cut up some potatoes last night for Mother's Day supper for my wife, and found it to be beneficial to get to that flat grind right there. I feel like the grip is superior to the Garberg, and I feel that if they would put out a Garberg with this same rubberized grip, they'd have a star. They already have a star. It's a good knife. It's a great knife. Something else about the blade, it does have a sharp 90-degree spine, hence the fire starter. And also, the thickness of the blade is 0.1 inch or 2.5 millimeters. So it's light, and just having that more thinner blade helps with the weight. So this is one of those knives that when it's on your hip, you don't feel it. It does come with a lanyard hole here, which is nice if you wanted to attach that. I don't see myself doing too much chopping or batoning with this knife because it is not full tang. I see this as a light hiker with long blade length capabilities, as opposed to something like a 2 or 3 inch blade there. So yeah, 4.3 inches, I mean, should kind of do just about anything you want to do out there. I mean, make notches, start fires, make feathers. There's all kinds of things that that you could do with the Kansbol. I do sort of wish they made a carbon option, just because I like carbon steel blades a little better for outdoor knives and task. So anyway, let's take a minute and see how it performs doing a few tasks. Just like all other Moras I've ever bought, it just comes super sharp out the box. I haven't had to resharpen this blade yet, so I'm seeing some pretty decent edge retention. Yeah, let's see how we do with curls. This piece of wood's kind of wet. We had a couple nice storms last night, and yeah, I mean, just like any other true Scandi grind, it's always performs pretty well at making feathers. Okay, so one thing I will say about the Kansbol, I sat around when I was cooking my wife a steak last night and did a little bit of carving, and I think this to be true with any 90-degree spine is for carving. I don't feel like they're great, because honestly, you use your thumb so much on these push cuts that it's very uncomfortable. But if you're just making a few notches for tent steaks or whatever, then it's ideal. All right, so we're going to demonstrate batoning with this very small piece of wood. This may be the only time I ever baton with this knife, but I want to demonstrate that it is capable. This is a soft piece of wood. No issues. We've talked about this, any type of knotty hardwood, oak or anything, if you don't have a full tang on your knife, I wouldn't suggest doing that. I had to move this portion of the video back to the bushcraft camp because everything down there was wet and I couldn't get a fire started. So I've got some dry wood here. Let's give it a shot. All right, my friends, so some final thoughts and pros and cons on the Morakniv Kansbol. Overall, really solid knife. And for $35, if you choose to go without the survival kit, it's just like a lot of other Mora options, it's really hard to beat. Obviously, I mentioned the price, so I think that's top of the list right there. Affordability for what you're getting, I honestly don't think there's a better brand out there. If it is, leave it in the comments. I'd love to check things out. This is by far probably the best budget blade knife I have. Here's another pro, light. It's very, very light. So if a hiker or backpacker is looking for a full-size knife, a 4+ inch blade to take out, on a hike or a backpacking trip or something like that, this is not going to weigh you down. This is going to sit on your hip very lightly. The dangler, when you're sitting or preparing food or something like that, is not going to jab up into your side like some fixed blade sheaths do. And lastly, for a pro with this knife is the grip. There's just not a better grip out there, in my opinion. I touched on that down there by the creek before we came up here to the bushcraft camp. It's just perfect in the hand. I have medium to large size hands, and you know, this is just as good as it gets. You know, I think the only con, or one of the only cons for this knife, if you were using it in a survival situation or even a bushcraft situation, heavy duty batoning, you don't have the full tang. Now the tang does come to about right here from what I understand. So it's still very sturdy, but I've mentioned this before, I'm not going to hammer down into really hardwoods or knotty woods or anything like that. If I find a soft piece of pine or something like that, I'll do that. But otherwise, this knife isn't suited for that. I think the only other con for me is not offering a carbon steel blade. Almost all, I'm trying to think if I do have the more Eldris is stainless steel, but all my other outdoor knives are carbon steel knives. They're easier to sharpen in the field. I feel like there's a better feel to them when you're working with wood. But anyway, so that's really it. So if you're looking for a nice, affordable outdoor all-purpose hiking and hunting knife, here you go, the Morakniv Kansbol. Have a great day. Peace.